This is the plan by Nanado and Co., the petitioners, as they amend the election fraud petition, increasing the list of affected polling stations from the initial 4,000 plus to over 11,000. Nanato Dadzie, who speaks for the NDC's legal team, mocked his colleagues after court today when he told journalists lawyers for the petitioners are simply engaged in what he described as, quote, pair trolling.
We expect them to call 11,000 plus witnesses to verify the allegations they are making in their petition. They shouldn't be surprised if you call 11,000 witnesses to counter the 11,000 police stations that they are claiming. Would have thought that this case would be moving faster so that we put this matter behind us. But if it must take that long, we'll go along that path. And we believe that at the end of it, justice will be done. And we'll know the truth in this matter. On our side, we believe that increasingly, there's what in law we say, they are fishing, simply fishing for evidence coming up with this matter. We don't know whether they will have to be looking for in future what they are using, whether a pair trawler that they'll be using in clearing everything. But one thing is certain, that is on our side, we believe we won fairly, and at the appropriate time, we believe the court will come to a fair judgment on the merits of the matter.
But the MPP's 2012 Deputy Communications Director, who is also a lawyer, Yabwabina Samwa, says the new evidence goes to strengthen their case that election results cannot be fair.
Is that our petition has not changed in any way. It has only strengthened the basis of the petition, which is the numbers in dispute. And we find that as we've gone through the over 90% of pink sheets that we have in our possession, nearly 11,000 of those pink sheets expose difficulties for the numbers. So you are talking about over 46%. Now, even at the time when we filed this petition, with 1.3 million and over votes in doubt, we could have unseated His Excellency John Mahama, because according to the vote count, all he needs to come below 50% is 150,000 votes. So this only goes to strengthen the point we are making, that this election was massively flawed, that this election was not conducted according to law, that the irregularities in this election, if dealt with effectively and judicially, will result in His Excellency John Mahama being asked to vacate the presidency and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo being asked to ascend to the presidency. That is what the numbers show.
Now, let's speak to the MPP, a member of the MPP legal team right now, Madam GLORIA AKUFFO. She joins me on the line. Also joining me on the line right now also is Nanato Dadzie, also a member of the NDC legal team. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Top Story. I want to start with you, Madam AKUFFO. The question really that was asked by your opponent is, it goes to the usefulness of this new evidence that you say you have. 11,000 polling stations, you've increased it from 4,000. What's your answer to those who say this really, and as has been said by your colleague Nanato Dadzie, is fishing for evidence to appease your supporters who are aggrieved?
I thank you very much. My understanding of fishing arises where you are leading evidence, either through direct, especially cross-examination, and you are eliciting evidence of which you cannot be sure of the response, and therefore you are just, as it were, groping in the dark. I don't think that expression is applicable to what the situation is now. We have uncovered additional evidence that will lead in our case, and in the circumstances, after the full evidence has been put before court, the court will come to one and one conclusion only, that there was such massive and widespread number of irregularities and malpractices, such that it would change the result in favor of Nana AKUFFO. And so I do not accept, and it is not correct, that we are fishing for evidence. We have our evidence, and we are going to prove that court that we have a case worth looking at, and that we will succeed in getting the court to attend the results of the 2012 presidential election.
We also understand today that apart from increasing the polling stations, you have a challenge, you have a problem with, from 4,000 to 11,000. We are told that there are some 20 or so additional polling stations that we understand today, as was put it by a reporter, were created. You realize were created on the day of the elections?
Well, yes, by the regulations, the Electoral Commission cannot create additional polling stations that ought to be used in the elections in less than 42 weeks before. But a few weeks to that time, the Electoral Commission indeed created more polling stations, clearly, that were unlawful and should not have been used in the election. That is one of the pieces of evidence that we have to demonstrate how irregular the 2012 presidential election.
Is that to suggest that in those 20 or so polling stations, you didn't know about it and therefore did not have monitors, polling agents there?
Let me say this. I do not intend prosecuting our case on air. It is not proper. It is not permitted by the ethics of the profession. But I can tell you that we have evidence that can point to a number of widespread irregularities and malpractices. That much I can say. But I'd rather not discuss the details of the evidence that we have to elicit before the court.
Let me bring in Nana DADZIE now, who is also a member of the legal team of the NDC. Nana, thank you also for joining us. You had said earlier in that clip we played that you also be forced to call 11,000 witnesses. That is, if the NPP's position is that based on the 11,000 polling stations they've now presented to the court, they're also going to call 11,000 witnesses, then you will do same. Some say, aren't we risking trivializing this very important matter?
Oh, no. Thanks very much. But let's get it clear. You know, the speed that a case travels is dependent upon the plaintiff or the person who brings the case. If he decides to have the case move that fast, well, it's up to them. If they want you to move slowly, we don't have any burden like that. The speed of the case will be dependent upon the evidence and then the facts that the plaintiff or the petitioner, in this case, will call.
But surely, if they have new evidence, they must certainly bring it up, regardless of the time frame and indeed your desire to expedite the whole process.
Yes, the point I'm making a moment is that if they say that we have problems with 5 polling stations, then we as defendants or respondents will be responding to only 5 polling stations. If they come up and say that they have problems with 4,709 polling stations, then of course we have to respond to that. If they come later on to say they have problems with 11,915 polling stations, of course we must respond to each one. We cannot be saddled with a number of witnesses to call. We will call as many witnesses to rebut the claim that they will make. That is all that we are saying.
Do I hear you saying that based on this latest evidence, because you had indicated you're going to call some 4,000 or so witnesses, clearly tell us, based on this latest evidence we are hearing about, you're also going to call or change your strategy to call 11,000 witnesses?
No. Let's get this matter clear. The whole issue of numbers, I'm saying it's unimportant. What is important is what the plaintiff or the petitioner in this case does. If they decide to pull everything together and say that they have only problems with 5 places, as I said, we will respond to it. Listen, in law, if you claim that there's a problem here, somebody must come and testify. You understand? The 11,000 or so that they are now claiming is scattered around the country, I believe. So one one person cannot come and stand and speak for all those positions. Clearly, they will have to speak to somebody who will have to come to speak to each pink sheet. No pink sheet can speak for itself, you see. So from our own assumption, we are saying that we expect them to be calling that number of witnesses, and we will respond.
Okay, Madam AKUFFO, does that mean that you're going to call that number, 11,000 witnesses, as he's asking?
We are saying that we will call as many witnesses as will speak to the...
Okay, it's a question I was putting to Madam Gloria AKUFFO. Thank you for staying on the line for me. But I was asking, Mr. Nana Atudazi, kindly stay on the line for me. Madam AKUFFO, are you going to call 11,000 witnesses?
To put it in perspective, the rules require that you indicate the number of witnesses that you plan calling in prosecuting such a petition. We, in our petition, indicated that we will call about 45 witnesses. I think that Nana Atudazi perhaps should concentrate on how they want to prosecute their defense and leave us to prosecute our petition.
Thank you very much, Madam, for your time here.
I think that we have our own way of prosecuting our case, and he does not determine how many witnesses we call.
Okay, thank you very much, Madam, for your time here on Top Story. A final word to you, Mr. Atudazi. You heard her. Does this obviously mean that you have to amend your
915 police stations? They are amending also to correct obvious arithmetical errors in the face of their own pleadings. They are also amending. There are quite a number of amendments they are raising. You know, they are perfecting their document. Our concern is that this is a court of writing, you know, and people must know exactly what they are facing. We can't have a situation where every other day we are changing the goalposts. And that is our concern, and what it means for speed and delays and all that. But, well, that is for the court to decide.
But
we are respondents, and we'll go along with them.
Okay, thank you very much, sir, for your time here on Top Story. That's Nana Atudazi. He's a member of the NDC legal team. Thank you very much for staying with us on Top Story. You want to stay with us in 15 minutes on Newsnight, because we'll be telling you about the latest happenings as far as the homosexual debate is concerned. We have some exclusives from the corridors of power as far as the nomination of Nana Yelitha is concerned. You want to stay with us in 15 minutes for those details. My name is Evan Spencer. Top Story is brought to you by Bond Financial Services, Belacqua Mineral Water, as well as myjoyonline.com.